expired. Ms. McCarswell-Powell.
Mr. Barr, good afternoon. I'm glad that you mentioned Latin America a little bit earlier. You know, many of my constituents that I represent in Florida fled to America from countries that use deadly force to stifle speech, and they used armed forces to suppress dissenting voices. They cherish our Constitution, as other Americans have done for generations, because of the incredible freedoms and rights that being an American citizen gives to all of us. It's extremely personal to me because you probably know that my roots are in Ecuador, but I live by the American Constitution. And it's true that those who weren't fortunate enough to always have these rights and freedoms sometimes cherish them even more than those who have always had them. When they see photos from Portland, they don't see the American ideal or the America that they know. They actually see and are reminded what they left behind. You would agree with me on that? Are you listening, Mr. Barr?
Well, I wasn't sure.
Take a look at this video.
Who was the subject of that last sentence?
Just, you know, when you see,
Who?
look at these videos for 1 second.
Yeah.
We have seen violence in Venezuela at the hands of Maduro, firing tear gas at protesters and using brutal tactics to crush demonstrations. That's what we see from dictators on both the left and the right. But it's hard to distinguish these photos from those events and from the videos that we've seen by U.S. federal police in Portland tear gassing and breaking the bones of a peacefully protesting U.S. Navy veteran. Very similar. So, Mr. Barr, how do you restore the confidence of my constituents in the values of this country when every night on television they're seeing these images of violence used against the peaceful protesters? We all denounce violence. How do you restore the trust in our democracy?
I think that the force is being deployed against rioters or in situations where protesters are not following police directions.
Most of the protests have been peaceful, Mr. Barr. You know that. You know that. You're just using language for political purposes, just like my colleagues across the aisle. Let me just go now to one of the most important topics facing our nation right now, healthcare. You know, in my district, we have close to 100,000 people that get their health insurance through the ACA. 19,000 of them are living with serious pre-existing conditions. And yet you are working to strip their health care at the worst possible moment, when the coronavirus is killing thousands of people in my state. In Miami-Dade County and in Monroe counties that I represent, do you know how many people have died from COVID-19?
No, I don't.
1,410 people. Mm-hmm. You were at the White House on March 23rd when President Trump said Governor DeSantis was doing an incredible job. Do you agree that Governor DeSantis is doing an incredible job?
Well, I have no reason not to believe that.
Well, Florida now has more cases than in China.
Well, did Cuomo do an incredible job in New York?
Unfortunately, and I'm not proud to say this, in Florida we have more cases than most countries combined around the world. So no, he is not doing an incredible job. You push states to open too soon. You threaten states with lawsuits.
I didn't ask states to open. I didn't ask states to open.
You threaten with lawsuits for those states that wanted to have stay-at-home orders, Mr.
For things
Barr.
like church.
We have the facts. I'm going by the facts.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
And now the country, the United States of America, has more than 4.3 million COVID cases alone. You, Mr. Barr, and President Trump, working together, are letting my constituents down. And it's something that you are going to have to live with. What am I supposed to say to my constituents when they ask me if the government has done everything in its power to protect their loved ones from dying? You tell me, Mr. Barr, what am I supposed to tell them?
I would tell them that managing this kind of thing requires a lot of difficult choices and weighing different consequences.
I'm not going to lie.
I
am not going to lie to my constituents. I am going to tell them that President Donald Trump and the Attorney General working together
The
are not
governor-
following health guidelines. They're letting Americans die needlessly because of political reasons.
In our-
That is
Chairman.
what I will tell them,
in
Mr.
our
Barr.
system-
Thank you. And one last question, if I can.
In our system,
Under oath, do you commit to not releasing any report by Mr. Durham before the November election?
no,
You don't commit to that?
no.
So you
I will
won't
be
go
very
by
careful.
Department of Justice policy
I know what Justice
that you
Department
won't
policy
interfere in
Time of
any
the-
political investigations before the November election?
The time of the
We're not going to
gentlelady
interfere.
expired.
In fact,
Mr.
I've made
Chairman.
it clear I'm not going to tolerate
But under oath, you're saying that you do not commit to not releasing a report by Durham.
I'm not going to. Any report will be, in my judgment, not one that is covered by the policy and it would disrupt the election.
The time of the
I've
gentlelady.
already made it clear that neither
You would go
candidate
against
is
your
under.
own Department of Justice policy, Mr. Barr.
Why don't you tell me what that policy is?
Oh, I have it right here.
Well, actually,
Do you want me to repeat it for you?
no, I know what the policy is.
Time of the,
Yeah.
the time of the
Okay.
gentlelady.
Mr.
Thank
Chairman,
you. I yield
ahead.
back.
Chairman.
Go
I
ahead.
yield back, Mr. Chairman.
Gentlelady.
Mr. Chairman, point of order.
Gentlelady.
Point of order,
Gentlelady
Mr.
yields
Chairman.
back. What purpose does the gentleman seek?
Is it permissible for a member of this committee to accuse the sitting Attorney General of the United States of murder? Because that's what we just heard. Those words need to be struck from this record. This is outrageous.
The members control the time.
Mr. Chairman.
To say
Mr.
whatever
Chairman.
they want? What about
Chairman.
rules of
Ms.
decorum?
Mr.
Ms.
Chairman,
Escobar is
Mr. Chairman, I actually have a clarification. Mr. Chairman,
Escobar.
Mr. No, this I just.
Escobar is recognized.
Thank you,
Mr.
Mr.
Chairman,
Chairman.
was the
Escobar.
video
Circuit.
played by the previous member? Was that a video of things that happened in the United
Escobar.
States or in Venezuela? I just want a
Gentleman is not-
clarification. What was the video?
Gentleman is not stating a cognizable point of order. Ms. Escobar is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Barr,